Do it.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to East Central Missouri and the world, and welcome to the James Strong Show podcast number 208. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for making us a part of your day. I appreciate it. This podcast was recorded on the evening of Thursday, February the 18th, from the James Strong Studio in Western St. Charles County. My guest today, he's a BFRO investigator. BFRO stands for Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization. He's a consultant to the Finding Bigfoot series on Animal Planet. He's got over 60 reports on BFRO.net. And he's an author of the book that I read and I enjoyed, Sasquatch, Evidence of an Enigma. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Carter Buschardt. How are you, Carter?
Well, just fine, James. Just fine. It's awesome. The applause is thunderous. I can barely hear you over all.
Very good. I did a podcast on Bigfoot sightings just a few weeks ago, believe it or not. It was a gentleman who, he's actually a businessman in the area, a respected businessman. So he has to have anonymity because people think strange things of him. But he went hunting again this winter and had another experience where he had a Bigfoot watching him. He sent me pictures. He told me stories. This is in southeast Missouri. And the whole Bigfoot phenomenon, and I know right now that the hot topic is UFOs or UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenons. But the Bigfoot phenomenon also is something that, well, as your book calls it, evidence of an enigma. Webster defines the word enigma as mysterious, puzzling, and difficult to understand. That certainly describes Bigfoot, doesn't it?
Pretty much. You know, it really does, and it's for many people, it is more of mythology and folklore than a real thing. But ask any person who has seen one or heard one, and they will quickly tell you they are not mythology, they're not folklore, they are a living creature, a living being. They might be a people even, you know.
Well, the gentleman I was talking to, he was hunting, and they were taking pictures of a bank, just trying to the bank of a river, because they always hunt on one side of the bank of the river, but they wanted to hunt on the other side of the bank of the river. So they're taking pictures of the river bank to see where could they ford this river. If they shoot a deer, they got to get it over to the other side, and it's cold and it's wet. Okay.
Yeah.
And throughout this whole thing, he felt like he was being watched. He said, look, I just had that feeling that I'm being watched. And he's had this feeling before. Well, when they got home, they looked at the pictures, and sure enough, hiding behind one of the trees, plain as day, is something, a being, a Bigfoot, a Sasquatch, plain as day. So it was there, and he discovered it with a camera.
Yeah, and I did a podcast maybe a week ago. It was about 30 minutes before I went on, and your story sounds just like mine. A guy starts blowing up my phone, and I've got a picture of a hand on my phone.
Okay.
Clearly, it might as well be a human hand. It is clear as a bell.
Okay.
And he owns property that he lets somebody else hunt. He doesn't hunt very often, so he lets somebody else hunt because they're hunting to feed their family. So, and he allows them to put up cameras to catch, the good spots. And he was at the end of the day hunting. He was back up. He crawled back up in the stand to pick up a couple of things. He was just kind of sitting there relaxing for a while and watching the sun start to get low. And he sees the Sasquatch come out of the tree line and starts walking along the tree line that borders his field that he was hunting in. And it walks right in front of the camera.
Wow.
So he runs right over there. It's about 75 yards away. He runs over there. He grabs the card and sends the picture to the landowner. The landowner sends me the picture.
Okay.
And it's like, unmistakable. If you look up chimp, bonobo, gorilla, orangutan, orang pendek, anything like that, it's the hand matches. I mean, it's nothing other than a simian hand, a humanoid simian hand with nails, knuckles, wrinkles, the whole bit. It's probably a juvenile.
And where was this approximately?
Oh, your neck of the woods you're talking about.
Southeast Missouri?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not the same people, I'm sure, but
I don't know that, because this gentleman, he didn't tell exactly where it is. It's near Reynolds County is what he said. And, and he said that him and his sons hunt the property. The gentleman who owns it doesn't hunt the property. And and that gentleman has seen stuff there too. And he didn't want me to disclose the area because this guy doesn't want people wandering around his property, disturbing the wilderness, because this area of Reynolds County in the Mark Twain National Forest is very, as many parts are in Mark Twain National Forest, as you know, they're very desolate. There's no people anywhere near this place.
Yeah. Thanks for this guy. It's and he lives on land. His land borders land that was given to the state by a very wealthy couple. And when they passed away, the only caveat was that no hunting was ever to be done on the properties to be used for education and research.
Okay.
For the forestry and animal branches of the conservation department. No hunting ever. So this guy's property goes up to this property that was given to the state, and it's a private property. I don't know the name. I don't care to know the name. I've been invited to go hang out there whenever I want to go, but it's pristine. There's no hunting, and when the people who owned it and lived on it, they never hunted it. It was just pristine. There's no recreational hunting, no hunting to feed your family, no hunting of any kind. So the animals come and go with complete, they're not have to worry about bullets whizzing over their head every time they go to the river to get a drink,
Right.
So it's pretty intriguing, but, I think that between technology, because, with technology and DNA, we're going to get there pretty quick, maybe in the next few years. Because the government knows all about this stuff. And they're just not saying anything. And to me, it's just like the UFO thing. They debunked it. They embarrassed and humiliated people for something like 80 years, since the 40s. The swamp gas, they don't exist. You're crazy. You're out of mind. We're gonna make your life miserable. Just quit bringing up the UFOs. There's no such thing. Well, 80 years later, oh yeah, they're here. We know it. We've known it a while. I mean, it's going to be the same thing with Squatch. Why are you sitting on this? What is it you think is so devastating to the human psyche that we can't handle, knowing that there's a possibly prehistoric, possibly a relative, possibly an offshoot, possibly a, synthetically created thing? Who knows what they are? Why do you think we can't handle that? Why you just tell us about the world we live in so we can do on else? I mean, we just landed a craft on Mars today,
right? And
you can do that, but you can't tell us if there's a creature living in the woods. Give me a break. It's ludicrous.
And that's the thing that I don't understand, because if this were a new species of animal, a rare species of animal, something that was something that they thought was extinct but really wasn't extinct, I don't know why the government would cover that up, and that's what makes me think it's something other than that. I don't know what that is, a true enigma. But it can't just be, what's the species of gorilla that used to roam around here? Something giganticus or something?
Gigantopithecus.
Yes, correct. If it were just that, okay, we thought they were extinct, but they're not. The government wouldn't cover that up. The government would want to protect the species, set up a refuge or something like that. And that's why, I think it's something else.
Yeah, I do too. And, you know, the number I have had, I guess I probably should have updated you. I've had almost 100 reports published now.
Really?
I've interviewed, I think I'm up to like 92. I mean, who cares? You know, it's just 100 is like a bucket list number, you know. Hopefully I get there. But I'm hearing so many things. I've talked to, you know, if I got 100 reports published, I've talked to probably at least 300 witnesses over the last 10 or 12 years, just investigating the BFRO reports. Now, other people that I'm running into now after the book and just private research, it's crazy. But the whole point is there's something else going on with these creatures. They may or may not have the skills that many people are reporting, but there's just something, like you said, there's just something not right about keeping a creature that had a past history of being here, keeping it secret. But there's too many things these people are reporting about, you know, cloaking or dimensions or mind speak or getting zapped with infrasound. There's just too much of it. And I've had stuff happen to me and my wife. So I know they're not a ape in the woods. They are more progressed than that. They may have been here before we were. We may be the new additions to the planet. You know, the Cro-Magnon or one of the other, you know, hominids could have been tweaked because we weren't smart enough, fast enough for whoever put us here in the first place. A lot of concepts. You just have to be. The fact that they will not say anything tells you right there there's something going on. And I think it's more dynamic than even the UFO thing. People can handle, you know, UFOs. There's life on other planets elsewhere in the universe. Okay, so what? We're not the only ones. You know, that's ego-driven. We're the king of the planet. We're the king of the universe. Well, you know, there are other things, other creatures, other beings, other things going on in the world. And just because we can't explain it doesn't mean it doesn't exist, you know. So,
well, you bring up the different species of the Cro-Magnon man, or perhaps they're a loosely linked relative of ours. There are those theories that say that, you know, man was a genetically engineered being by others. They took an ape, a monkey, tweaked the DNA, tweaked this, and they made us. There may be others that they've tweaked, or that they are in the process of tweaking, perhaps existing in another dimension that we can see sometimes, and sometimes we cannot.
Yeah.
And the whole cloaking thing, you mentioned the cloaking, and people kind of roll their eyes when they think about that. But cloaking is not necessarily something out of Star Trek, okay? Cloaking can be something like a praying mantis or a walking stick bug or a chameleon that changes color so they blend in with the their environment so you don't see them. Cloaking can be something like what are these squid? The squids that are in. Well,
octopus can change.
Octopus can change. Squid can change. What they make the calamari out of that they catch in the Sea of Cortez. They change colors. They pretend like they're males that pretend like they're females so they can get the mate that they want. I mean, just different things that different animals do. Animals of much lesser intelligence than us use cloaking mechanism all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It could be as simple as the hair follicles can bend the light because they're hollow and they refract certain light ranges and absorb others. So they could be chameleon-like, just like you mentioned with the chameleons. A lot of different moths and insects can fly up and land on the bark of a tree and it disappears. Right. They completely blend in. So, that's not rocket science. That's just like, why are we so shocked that might even be a possibility? Because I think at some point we're so concerned about our lives and